Joining me now is a UFC bantamweight fighter who is coming off a win over Patrick Williams last month at UFC on Fox 29 in Glendale, Arizona. It is Luke Sanders here on the program for the very first time. Luke, how are you?
Man, doing good. Just finishing a nice little bike ride here in Nashville. It's beautiful outside, so I can't complain.
Awesome, man. Well,
how's it going?
I appreciate you squeezing me in just at the tail end of your bike ride. Now, let's go back to your win last month, April 15th, UFC on Fox 29. As I said, you defeated Williams by decision. Were you happy? Were you satisfied with the victory?
Man, it was really satisfying to get that win and be back on that side of the column. So job was done. You know, that's what I went there for, to get the win. You know, the other two didn't really fall into place like that. And, you know, even though I feel like, you know, I'm the better person, it didn't happen that way. So, yeah, it felt great to get out there and get that W, man. It was awesome.
That's awesome. And going in, of course, you were on a two-fight skid, the first losses of your pro career. Did you know going in that you'd need the win to save your job with the UFC? Were you treating it as a must-win situation for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Which made it frustrating to have my style be you know, in full effect. I just had to be a little more poised and control with everything. So I had to get the win, man, because, you know, it was the last fight on the contract, so I couldn't take as many risks as I normally would. So I just had to focus on doing the right things and securing the W.
Do you think actually having that mindset of I need the win actually helped you? I mean, again, as you said, you couldn't take as many risks, and so maybe you don't get the stoppage that fighters always look for, including yourself. But do you think it ultimately helped? Do you think you performed better than sometimes you usually do, just because you were maybe even more focused than you are usually? Is that at all fair?
Yes and no. I mean, I of course want the finish, so I felt like if I'd have got that, then I'd have been like extremely satisfied. But like, so now I got something to build on. So I got the W, I got something to build on, and I can keep pushing forward. And next time, you know what I mean, I can kind of gauge that extra push that we're talking about, and hopefully I see the opening that much more clear next time after looking back at this fight. Because of course, you know, you want to be the better version every time you step back in there. So that's kind of like, you know I can build and I can go up from there.
Interesting. And your back was up against the fence in that fight against Williams for more reasons than one. Of course, it was sort of, you know, going in there on a bit of a skid, but also it was your last fight of your first 4-fight deal with the UFC. This was your 4th fight in the promotion, and the contract would expire after the fight, win or lose. Did that just add to the pressure for you?
Man, no, I don't think so. I didn't really, you know, there was pressure, but I didn't, you know, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's, there's always going to be new beginnings, you know, so you can't dread, like, anything in the past. And that's what I try to learn, you know, in life in general, just to look forward and try not to look back. You know, that's my mentality now anyways, you know. So just to keep building up and not worry about what was in the past. You know, you got those waves and you got to ride them.
Now, as you just said, you don't want to really look back, and now that you're on the win, you know, back in the winning column, everything's going good now. But can you put into words how difficult 2017 was of a year for you?
Yeah, that was a brutal year, man. Yeah, it was rough, dude, just coming off those 2 losses. And, you know, like, yeah, it's hard, man, because you train and you work so hard. And even when you feel like you're the better person or whatever, like, and you lose, like, you lose a lot. It's not just like, oh, you lost the fight. It's like, oh, I lost that extra money that I felt like I earned, that I deserved, that I should have got. And so that's really frustrating. And then, you know, you lose sponsors, and then people who believe in you, they start doubting you, and then you're down yourself. And then it's like, it's a brutal, you know, that's the fight game, man. Like, you don't always get what you worked for, you know? And that was hard to to swallow.
And after the loss to Andre Sukumta, what did you try to re-sign with the UFC? Did you contact the matchmakers and say, I'm interested in re-signing? Are you can we negotiate? Can we make this work? And they just weren't interested, or did you not even bother asking?
Man, like, I'm kind of like the person, I like to earn everything, and I just felt like, like, I don't know, it's hard to ask for something when, like, you didn't deliver, and I felt like I just fell short of delivering with the finish, I felt like I built the fight. Like, I felt like both fights I had control of, that I was the better person, but I just didn't sign the deal, I guess, is a better way to put it. So it was hard. It would have been hard for me to be like, hey, like, hook a brother up. You don't have a lot to argue,
Yeah, I mean, you seem like a guy who's able to not move past, but sort of you're able to swallow when you fall short, and you realize, hey, I didn't get the job done, so why should they, give me a new contract, all of that, where I feel like some guys might just, go and say, no matter what, I mean, win, lose, I want the new contract, all of that. You're sort of able to sit back and realize when you fall short, that's when things, I guess, you don't get what you want. Is that accurate, do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else. It's just
Sure.
kind of the way, the way it all hit me. So I was like, well, I gotta fix it. I gotta come back, and I gotta make sure that I do it different. So.
The Alcantara fight, of course, was, as I mentioned earlier, your first pro loss, and I think, I mean, I'm not a fighter, and I probably never will fight, so you can speak on this far better than I can, but I would imagine that, having that first loss is a really eye-opening experience, because before you lose a fight, you almost feel like you're invincible, and then you lose, and it's kind of like, well, why? What just happened? Why did I lose? I thought I was better than everybody else. What was that like, having that first loss to Yuri last year, and having sort of, what was your thought process afterward? Did you start having thoughts, especially after the second one? Am I good enough? Should I be here? Although those aren't fair. I mean, clearly you are UFC caliber, but brains work in a weird way. Did you have thoughts like that?
Yes and no. Like I obviously feel like I'm one of the best, and that's why I'm kind of in the sport, just to be the best. So, but yeah, like, falling short 2 times, it hurts, man. The ego hurts for sure. I don't, that's one thing, like, that is like anything else, just losing a fight. It's like, man, you can lose in a game, and you can lose in a sport, but, man, it's something about a fight. When you lose in a fight, it's like, that's a whole nother feeling of, like, I don't know, it's not okay to lose a fist fight. It's never okay to lose a fist fight, so I didn't take to it too good.
What were your emotions after you finally do get back into winning column? As I said last month, you defeat Williams, sort of back in the clear, so to speak. You're still a UFC fighter, ended up re-signing a new deal. What were your emotions immediately after getting your hand raised?
Everything's better when you win, man. Life, food tastes better. You laugh a little bit better. So it was pretty nice, man. It was good to be back on the right track, So yeah, I was happy, man. I feel like that's where I belong, on the winning side. So yeah, it was good, man, for sure. It was a great moment.
And after winning, did you know the UFC would be interested in re-signing you, or was it still at that point up in the air, you weren't really sure what to expect?
I mean, like, it's kind of one of those things. I figured, that the offer would come. So, I wasn't surprised. I mean, obviously, like, in all my fights, I've pretty much been the better person. Maybe I didn't get those 2 wins, but so I didn't think I was, like, in jeopardy of my job after I got the W and all that. So
Interesting. And as far as the actual contract goes, are you happy with it? It's another 4-fight deal, so it'll take you to your 8th UFC fight. Are you happy? Is it better than your first deal? You don't need to go into specifics, of course, but ultimately, are you satisfied with the new deal with the UFC?
Yeah, it works, man. It helps out a lot to get a new deal and get a bump and everything. That's really helpful. Of course, it can always be better. So, but for now, it'll do. And then, after I prove myself a little more, then we'll talk some more, and hopefully, it'll be even better. And that sort of thing. So I understand you have to work your way up, but I'm cool with that. So for now, it's been good, man, and I'm happy about it.
And you've had a little more than a month off from that last fight against Patrick Williams. When are you looking to get back in there? You didn't take tons of damage in that fight. You got hit here and there, but mostly it was a good performance from yourself. When do you want to fight again? Do you have something in the works or a timetable for your return? I'm assuming you've given some thought.
Yeah, we were tossing around a couple of dates, so hopefully in the summer I can get back in there. I'm just back here in Nashville, so I have a gym here in Nashville, mixed martial arts, where I started training. So just kind of like getting back in the flow of things and getting in shape, and then hopefully getting there by the end of summer.
Anyone you would like specifically? Have you taken the time, looked at the bantamweight division a little bit, looked at maybe the bottom of the top 15, maybe right outside of it, maybe the top 10? Have you given it some thought as to who?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to fight a ranked guy for sure. Definitely top 15. So that would be great, but I haven't really looked into specifics on who to fight. I'm never really that person who looks at guys and are like, oh yeah, like he's an easy fight, so I'll take him. I kind of, I don't look for fights, but I don't mind getting in them either.
Sure, fair enough. And one last thing I wanted to ask you, I'll actually probably edit it and put it a bit earlier just because I'm sort of going back a little bit, but it'll make it work once it's all good to go or whatever. But do you feel like losing those 2 fights and then, before getting back into the winning column, did that just make you want to train harder and make you train harder and all of that? Did you feel like you started, I don't know, did your mindset change in general after those 2 setbacks?
Yeah, man, definitely. I had to reevaluate a lot. So, with that being said, I had to take a look at everything from the way I warmed up to the way I finished training. And yeah, it was definitely a huge learning experience. And you eat that humble pie too, and you get a taste of it.
Do you feel like you've now, back in the winning column, have sort of found the ideal training scenario for you? How much to train, how little to train? I mean, obviously it's closer to the how much end of things, but have you sort of nailed it down right? And do you think you're at your best?
Yeah, I think I'm learning, man, and that's what is important, to not forget that it's not all always about just grinding. You see everybody like, oh, I'm grinding, I'm in the gym, I'm hustling. Like, recovering and nutrition and all that stuff comes into play. It all amplifies each other and builds the other thing. If you don't have all the little details in the place, which I feel like I'm starting to learn, more and listen to my body more, and you get older and you're more in tune with everything. So it's been helpful to kind of take a look at it from an outside view and really examine that part of the game.
And you mentioned you're back in Nashville. Do you still train at the MMA Lab?
No, for my last fight I wasn't able to go there, and I talked to them. I still have good relationships with those guys and their family, but I haven't been able to go there and train just because the situation and it being hard to get there and to stay and train and run a business and be a father and all those other things. it was a lot at the moment, so I wasn't able to do that last camp there.
Okay, do you expect you'll find your way back there at the MMA Lab eventually, or for now, anyways, unless anything changes in the foreseeable future, will your camps all take place in Tennessee?
Yeah, it's possible that I could end up there. Like I said, me and the coaches have a relationship, and I've been there forever, so I would never want to kill that bridge.
Okay, sounds good. Luke, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. I know everybody listening is looking forward to your next fight, whenever that may happen. Before I let you go, just let my audience know where they can find you on social media, and if there's anybody you'd like to thank, you give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Cool Hand MMA, and that's on Instagram and Twitter. And I'd just like to give a shout-out to the fans and all my friends and family, my gym, Nashville MMA, Dynamics MMA, the Lab, Black House, Virus. They're always been great. That's about it, man. Yeah.